If you've been feeling lost, tired, or on the edge of giving up, this message is for you. Not by accident, not by chance. God is about to speak directly to your heart. Stay with me through this video, because what you're about to hear may be the moment everything begins to change. This is not just encouragement, it's a divine encounter. Let's begin.
There is something I want you to hear, not just with your ears, but with the depth of your soul. You've felt it before, haven't you? That quiet tug in your heart, like a whisper wrapped in warmth, trying to reach you through the noise of this world. That voice, it's mine, and I'm speaking to you now. Not by accident, not by chance, but because you were meant to receive this message today. I see the weariness you carry behind your smile, the unspoken questions that echo in your silence. You've been wondering if you're truly seen, if you're heard, if your life has purpose amid the chaos. You have no idea how fiercely I love you. You are not alone in your thoughts, your struggles, your hopes. From the first moment you opened your eyes, I've been near. You might not always feel my presence, but that doesn't mean I've gone. I'm closer than your breath, closer than any word you could form. Even when darkness crowds your mind, even when pain whispers lies, I remain. You've been told before that faith is about blind obedience, but I'm not calling you into blindness. I'm calling you into light, into truth, into peace that this world cannot imitate. What you're facing today is not bigger than the strength I've placed inside of you. Let me remind you, evil has no power over you. Yes, it may roar. Yes, it may try to intimidate and surround you with fear, but it cannot defeat what belongs to me. And you are mine. My hands formed you. My breath filled your lungs. My spirit watches over you day and night. I am not a distant God observing from afar. I am the Father who kneels beside your bed when you cry at night. I am the voice that calms your racing thoughts. I am the warmth you feel when everything else turns cold. I am not here to condemn you. I am here to lift you, to heal you, to fill you with joy and courage that flows from something eternal. There have been days, I know, when you questioned everything, when pain felt louder than promise. But still, you woke up. Still, you stood. Still, you pressed forward. And that, my child, is not weakness, that is resilience. That is faith rising in the midst of the storm. You may not see it yet, but each moment of endurance is a seed. And I am the God who waters those seeds with grace and brings forth a harvest of strength, peace, and abundance. No tear you've cried has been wasted. I've collected them. I've seen each one, and I will turn even your sorrow into songs of triumph. You've been haunted by what you lost, by people who walked away, dreams that didn't come to pass, opportunities that faded. But listen closely. What's behind you is not greater than what's ahead. I have not forgotten you. I have not overlooked you. My timing is not your timing, but my promise is firm. What I said I would do, I will do. There are blessings already moving toward you. Doors opening where you thought there were only walls. New beginnings blooming in places where all seemed barren. Don't measure your future by your pain. Measure it by my love. You've carried burdens I never asked you to carry. You've believed lies whispered by fear, shame, and the enemy of your soul. But I am here to free you, not just from external circumstances, but from the internal weight that keeps you from breathing deeply. You were never meant to walk through life dragging chains of guilt and defeat. I designed you for freedom, for laughter that rises from your belly, for sleep that's untroubled, for peace that doesn't disappear when circumstances change. That freedom is not earned. It is gifted. All I ask is that you open your heart. The world will try to convince you to perform for love, to earn your worth, to strive endlessly to be enough. But I want you to hear me clearly. You are already enough. Not because of what you've done or haven't done, but because I created you in love and for love. Your value is not up for debate. It is eternal. When I look at you, I don't see failure. I see someone I formed with intention, someone I've equipped with purpose. You have been anointed to stand strong, not crumble. You have been chosen to rise above, not sink into fear. And no matter how loud the storm becomes, it cannot silence my voice inside of you. Even now, I am working in ways you can't yet see. I'm preparing people, aligning opportunities, softening hearts, clearing paths. When you feel nothing is happening, I am still moving. When you pray and silence answers, I am still listening. Trust is not easy, I know, but trust is where miracles begin. When you lean into me instead of into your doubts, that is when you'll begin to see the impossible bend in your favor. The battles you face now are not proof of your weakness. They are proof of the greatness within you that threatens darkness. You were never meant to live a life of defeat. You were created to walk in victory, not the kind the world offers, fleeting, fragile, fading, but the kind that is rooted in me. And this victory does not mean every moment will be perfect. It means you will rise after every fall. You will find light even in the midnight hour. You will experience my strength when yours runs out. And most of all, you will know what it means to be unconditionally loved. So take this as your divine invitation, not just to believe, but to live like someone who is deeply known and deeply loved. This is not the end of your story. It's not even the hardest chapter. It's just the beginning of a life transformed by my presence. The next part is already being written. Through your hope, your surrender, and your quiet moments of faith when no one else is watching. I am with you, always. You've been wondering, haven't you, if you still have a place in my plans? When the world around you seems to move forward while your feet feel trapped in yesterday's regrets, the silence can feel like absence. But I tell you this, my silence is not distance. It's preparation. You're not forgotten, you are being refined. Every waiting season, every closed door, every not yet you've endured has not been punishment, but protection. For there are things you've prayed for that I've held back. Not because I don't love you, but because I do. What you thought was rejection was actually my hand shielding you from what would have wounded you. And now I'm calling you to remember who you are. Not what the world says, not what fear says, not what past pain whispers to your soul in the late hours. I am calling you to remember who you are in me. You are not what was done to you. You are not the voice that broke your spirit. You are not the mistakes you made. You are my child. My light flows through you. My purpose lives in you. My plans are still unfolding even when the road seems silent. Your story isn't defined by where you've been, but by where I'm leading you. And I am leading you somewhere glorious. Do not let your current pain become your permanent perspective. Even in this very moment, I am turning broken pieces into divine appointments. I am building something from the ruins, and what is rising is stronger than what fell. I know it's hard to see that right now. I know your heart has been weary from the struggle, but I am not finished. You are not abandoned. This season will not be wasted, not a single breath of it. Lift your eyes, child. Don't anchor your hope in what is fading. Look beyond the surface of your struggles, beyond the opinions of others, beyond the fear that knocks at your soul's door. Your peace will not come from predictable circumstances. It will come from my presence, and I am right here. I have never been closer to you than I am now. Even if the winds howl and the rain lashes at your soul, remember, I walk on storms. I don't promise the absence of storms. I promise my presence in the middle of them. And when I am near, nothing can overcome you. I know the nights have been long. I've seen your prayers when no one else was watching. I've heard you cry out to me with trembling lips, wondering if your voice reached heaven. It did. Every word, every tear, every silent plea, I've held them close. And I have responded, not with quick fixes, but with eternal solutions. I've been shaping your character, not just your comfort. For your destiny is too important to be built on fragile foundations. I want you to be strong, unshakable, rooted in truth, not tossed by the emotions of a passing day. There will be moments when your faith will feel small, but even mustard seed faith moves mountains when placed in my hands. You do not need to impress me to be loved. You simply need to trust. Trust doesn't mean never questioning. It means choosing me again and again in the midst of uncertainty. It means walking forward even when you don't have all the answers. That kind of faith moves heaven. You may feel like your life has been delayed, as if joy belongs to someone else and you're just watching from behind the glass. But I am the one who created time, and I am not late. What seems like delay is often my divine pacing. I know what's best for your spirit, your family, your calling. I've been preparing you for what you prayed for, even before you knew how to ask. And when it comes, you'll see how every detour had a purpose, how every trial taught you something sacred. There are some things you've been holding on to tightly, fears, expectations, the need for control, and I'm asking you now, let them go. Not because I want you to lose, but because I want you to be free. Surrender is not weakness when it's given to me. It's power. When you place what you cannot control into my hands, you open space for peace to flow in. And I will fill that space, not with empty words, but with divine presence. I will not leave you to figure it out alone. I will lead you gently. I will speak softly to your heart, again and again, until you believe what I say more than what the world shouts. There is a reason you've made it this far. There's a reason despair hasn't overtaken you. You are covered by grace. You are protected by purpose. You are walking in a story greater than your pain. I'm not writing a tragedy with your life. I'm composing a testimony. And you, my beloved, will see how the pages filled with tears were the very ones that led to breakthrough. Do not curse the ground you're standing on just because it doesn't look like the promise yet. The soil is rich. The roots are growing. Your faith has not been in vain. Your obedience has not been ignored. I see every time you chose kindness when you wanted revenge. I see every act of love you gave when no one thanked you. I see how you've kept believing when it would have been easier to give up. And I will reward that. I am not blind to your journey. Even when you've fallen, especially when you've fallen, I've been right there. Not pointing at your mistakes, but holding out my hand. And when you rise again, because you'll see how even your weakness became a doorway for my strength to enter. I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for surrender. Your surrender is beautiful to me. It invites me in. And when I come, I bring healing, restoration, joy, and peace that this world cannot take from you. So let today be a turning point. Not the day you figured everything out, but the day you stopped trying to do it alone. The day you let go of fear. The day you whispered, I trust you. Even when everything felt uncertain. I honor that kind of courage. I celebrate it. I surround it with power. For in that moment you step into a life not ruled by fear, but anchored in faith. And faith, real living faith, moves mountains, opens doors, and brings heaven closer than you ever thought possible. You've been walking a hard road. I know. There have been days when your own reflection felt like a stranger, when you looked in the mirror and wondered where your strength had gone. But I see what you do not. I see the fierce light still burning in you. Faint though it may seem, it has not gone out. The embers of your faith are not weak. They are sacred. And I'm here to fan them into flame again. You were not meant to live in shadows. You were born of my breath, crafted by my hands, lit by my divine spark. Even when your steps have faltered, I have walked beside you. You've never taken a single breath that I didn't count, never shed a single tear that I didn't collect. You may have believed that your struggles are punishment, but I tell you, they are preparation. They are shaping you into someone who can carry the weight of greater blessings. Do not let this world convince you that your value is in what you achieve. I placed my image in you before you ever accomplished anything. Your worth was sealed by my love, not by your performance. Stop measuring yourself by how much you've done. Start seeing yourself through the eyes of grace, where nothing is wasted and everything can be redeemed. You see, I don't use perfect people. I use surrendered ones. And your brokenness doesn't disqualify you, it makes you usable. The world glorifies the polished, the proud, the self-sufficient. But I move through the humble, the contrite, the willing. My greatest miracles have always begun in dark, quiet places. So if your life feels silent now, take heart. You are standing on holy ground. The soil of surrender is where my promises begin to grow. And what is being formed in silence will soon shout my glory. There's a battle happening, not just around you, but within you. The battle between doubt and trust, between fear and faith. And I want you to know that you are not losing. Every time you choose to believe in my goodness despite your circumstances, you win. Every time you silence the voice of despair with my promises, you gain ground. This war is not yours to fight alone. I've sent angels before you, behind you, beside you. You are surrounded by heavenly warriors, and you don't even realize how many times they've shielded you from harm you never saw coming. But more than my angels, you have me. I do not sleep. I do not grow weary. I never lose sight of you. When the world grows cold, I am your warmth. When hope flickers, I breathe life into it again. I don't just walk with you. I carry you when you're too tired to take another step. You don't have to pretend with me. I already know your thoughts before you speak them. I know where it hurts. I know what keeps you up at night. And I want you to know this. There is nothing about you that scares me away. No failure, no weakness, no past mistake has ever made me love you less. In fact, it's in your weakest moments that my love rushes in the strongest. When you cry out in frustration or disappointment, I'm not disappointed in your cry. I delight in your honesty. I draw near to those who are brokenhearted. I don't require eloquence. I long for truth. Just bring me your heart, messy and tired as it may be, and I will meet you there. Don't wait to be ready. You'll never be more ready than you are right now. This is the moment I want to speak something new into your life. Listen closely. What you thought was the end is not your ending. What you assumed disqualified you is what I'll use to qualify you. You are not behind. You are not too late. My timeline is not tied to human clocks. I make rivers flow in deserts. I make dry bones rise and dance again. I make graves into gardens. And I can take your broken hopes and breathe resurrection into them. Don't be afraid of letting go. You're not losing control, you're gaining freedom. What you release, I can redeem. What you surrender, I can multiply. But I need your trust. Yes, I know trust is hard. I know you've been hurt. You've been let down by people who promised things they never delivered. But I am not like them. I do not lie. I do not change. When I say I love you, I mean it eternally. When I say I have a future for you, it's not conditional. It's a certainty. It's written in my word, sealed in my spirit, and revealed in due time. The blessings you've dreamed of are not out of reach. They are simply waiting for the right moment. And when that moment comes, it will be better than you imagined. So don't give up. Not now. Not when you're this close. The enemy wants you to quit right before the breakthrough. He wants you to believe that nothing is changing. But I want you to believe that everything is shifting beneath the surface. The storm you're in is not here to break you. It's here to birth something greater. I'm not asking you to figure it out. I'm asking you to remain faithful, to keep showing up, to keep trusting me even when it hurts. I will not waste your pain. I will not waste your questions. I will not waste your nights of anguish. I am weaving something beautiful even if all you see now is thread. I am not done with you, not even close. There is more healing, more joy, more purpose, more provision coming. But I'm not just offering blessings. I'm offering myself. And that is the greatest gift of all. So come to me as you are right now. You don't need to clean up first. You don't need to pretend. Just come. Let your defenses fall. Let the tears fall too. I will catch them. And I will meet you there, in the stillness, in the ache, in the hope. I'm not done writing your story. I'm just turning the page. Let me ask you something. When did you begin to believe that broken meant unworthy? Who taught you to hide your scars as though they were shameful rather than sacred? I was there in every moment you tried to silence your pain, holding it all as tenderly as a parent cups the tears of a child. I never turned my face from your sorrow. I never grew impatient with your confusion. If only you could see yourself the way I see you, not as someone who has failed, but as someone I'm still forming. You are in process, and that process is precious to me. You see the cracks in your confidence and call them weakness. I see them and call them space for my glory to shine through. Do not despise your humanity. I made it on purpose. You feel deeply because I do. You long for connection because I built you for relationship. You seek truth because it's my voice your soul was made to recognize. You were never created to walk this life numb, hardened, or self-sufficient. You were created to walk in communion with me in every moment. I never meant for you to carry the world on your shoulders. That weight was never yours. Let me lift it. Let me carry it for you. I know you're tired. Not just physically, but deeply soul-tired. It's the kind of weariness that sleep doesn't fix. It's the heaviness of fighting silent battles, of holding yourself together when everything inside feels like it's falling apart. You've been strong for so long, haven't you? Holding up the world for others, wearing a brave face while your own heart quietly breaks. But child, you were never meant to do this alone. Strength isn't found in denying your need. It's found in acknowledging it. Come rest in me. Truly rest. Let your guard down. You don't have to be everything for everyone. You just have to be mine. I don't require performance. I long for presence. I want you, not your perfection, not your accomplishments, just you. When you were a child, you didn't question your need for a father's embrace. You simply reached out. Return to that place. Let your soul unclench. Let your spirit breathe. I'm not keeping score. I'm keeping you safe. I'm not measuring your success. I'm mending your wounds. The world may ask you to hustle for approval, but my love was never a reward. It's your birthright. Even now, as you sit in the middle of your mess, I'm not looking at the debris. I'm looking at your heart, and it's still beating with hope, no matter how buried it feels. You've been praying for answers, for direction, for relief, and I've heard every whisper. But before I give you what you're asking for, I want to give you something deeper, peace. A peace not tied to resolution, but to revelation. The revelation that I'm with you, that I'm enough, that even without the fix, you are still safe, still loved, still held. Because if your peace depends on circumstances, it will vanish with the wind. But if it's rooted in me, it will stand unshaken. I am your anchor. I am the stillness in the storm, and I want to teach you to live from that place. Not striving, not surviving, but abiding. That's where miracles unfold. That's where transformation begins. Not in the loud display, but in the quiet turning of your heart back toward me. And yes, I know what the enemy has tried to whisper to you, that it's too late, that you've missed your chance, that you're too far gone. But those are lies. Lies that tremble in the presence of truth. And here is the truth. I specialize in redemption. I turn ashes into beauty, mourning into dancing, grief into joy. I don't restore you back to where you were. I raise you higher than you ever thought possible. Because I'm not in the business of simply fixing. I'm in the business of resurrection. The pain you've carried has not been in vain. It has cultivated compassion. It has birthed wisdom. It has made you softer in a world that prizes hardness. And that softness is strength, not weakness. It allows my love to flow through you in ways pride never could. So don't despise your tenderness. Don't apologize for your tears. They are evidence that your heart is still alive, that it still believes in something more. And I can work with that. You wonder sometimes if you've done too much wrong to be used by me. Let me say this as clearly as possible. I choose you, not despite your past, but because of it. Because what you've walked through has equipped you to walk others through their darkness. Your story has power. Your survival has purpose. Every valley you've crossed becomes a testimony of my faithfulness. Every time you've risen from despair, you've revealed my strength. I didn't bring you this far to leave you now. What I've started in you, I will complete. Don't compare your journey to someone else's. Their pace is not your purpose. You're not falling behind, you're being prepared. I am developing something in you that will outlast the storm. You don't need to chase visibility when you're already seen by me. You don't need to fear being overlooked when you're carried in my hands. So come to me again, not with guilt, but with trust. Let go of the pressure to prove. Let go of the idea that your value is in your usefulness. You are valuable because you are mine. That's enough. Let those words sink in. You are enough. Not because of what you've done, but because of who I am and how deeply I love you. This moment, this exact moment, is sacred, because it's a turning point. Not because you did anything extraordinary, but because you stopped, because you breathed, because you let my words in, because something in your soul remembered who you are. That is where transformation begins. In the stillness, in the knowing, in the return. You're not just surviving, you're becoming someone who knows the sound of my voice, Becoming someone who trusts me, not just with the easy, but with the painful. Becoming someone who walks forward not because the path is clear, but because my presence is sure. And that is more than enough. Let's talk about the silence again. The one that creeps in when your prayers feel unanswered, when your worship echoes into what seems like emptiness, when your soul whispers, "Are you still there?" And my answer, steady and unwavering, is yes. I am here. I have never left. But what you call silence, I call sacred space. It is the place where I do my deepest work, not in the noise of performance, but in the stillness of surrender. The quiet isn't a void, it's a canvas, and I am painting something beautiful on it. Even if your eyes haven't adjusted to the light yet, I know that waiting feels like wasting. I know your heart longs for resolution, for movement, for answers that are tangible and immediate. But hear me clearly, there is no waiting with me that goes without reward. I use delay not to harm you, but to deepen you, to refine your desires, to stretch your faith, to prepare you for a blessing you're not yet ready to carry. You've asked me to bless you greatly, and I intend to, but greatness without roots cannot stand. So I am growing roots, deep ones, invisible ones, and soon they will bear fruit beyond what you imagined. There's a reason some doors haven't opened. There's a reason some people walked away. There's a reason that path closed just as you were about to step through. Not to punish you, but to protect you. I don't just see where you are, I see where that path would have taken you. And though it may have looked appealing, it was never part of my best for you. I remove not to withhold, but to make room. I close not to punish, but to redirect. And every redirection from me is always toward something better, even if it feels like loss at first. Child, you must understand, I am not only the God of open doors, I am the God who walks with you down hallways. And sometimes I ask you to walk by faith through dim corridors, where the only light is the flame I placed in your spirit. Trust that it's enough. You don't need to see the full map when you know the one who holds it. I am not distant. I am not disinterested. I am not delaying to test your patience. I am aligning everything to release blessings in their perfect time. There are people who've tried to tell you that your emotions disqualify your faith. That crying means you don't trust me. That feeling weary means you've failed. But let me tell you something eternal. Emotions don't scare me. I created every one of them. You don't lose my love when you weep. You don't disappoint me when you're tired. I'm not shaken by your sadness. I am drawn to it because it reveals your heart. And a heart open to me, even when hurting, is the most beautiful thing in all creation. Let's break that lie now, that you must always be strong. No, my beloved, you only need to be honest. You only need to come to me, not with eloquent prayers, but with truth. Even if that truth sounds like, God, I don't understand. Even if it sounds like, I'm afraid, or I feel alone. I'd rather have your honest ache than your forced praise. Because I meet you in the real, not the rehearsed. And when you bring me your truth, I bring you my presence. That is the divine exchange. Your sorrow for my comfort, your questions for my clarity, your anxiety for my peace. You're waiting for me to open a door, but I'm waiting for you to open your heart. Not halfway, not with conditions. All the way, full surrender. Because the moment you stop trying to carry what I've already claimed is the moment you'll taste the freedom you were made for. You've tried to be your own protector, your own provider, your own savior. But that's not your role. That's mine. And I delight in it. I long to take the weight off your shoulders and place a garment of peace upon them. Will you let me? It's time to release what was never yours to hold. The bitterness, the fear, the timelines, the unspoken expectations, the comparison, the shame. Let it all fall. It was never meant to define you. My love defines you. My word establishes you. My promises secure you. And they are not fragile. They do not shift with your mood. They are everlasting, unshakable, bound not by your faithfulness, but by mine. That's the kind of security you can build your life on. You keep wondering if I'm proud of you. Listen to me, I am. Not because you've done everything right, but because you've kept coming back. Because you've kept trusting when it hurt. because you've whispered amen through tears, because even when your hands were trembling, you still raised them. That faith, as small and fragile as it feels, moves my heart. I see every effort you've made, every small decision to choose love, every time you've walked away from what could have broken you. And I smile, because I see who you're becoming. You're growing, even when you don't feel it. Growth isn't always loud. It's often hidden, like seeds pushing through soil in the dark. But just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Trust me, the fruit is coming. You'll see the beauty of what you've been cultivating in prayer. And when it blooms, it will be more radiant because of the darkness it grew through. You've not been buried, you've been planted. And the light is breaking through. So hold on, not to fear, not to control, but to me. I am not going anywhere. I didn't bring you through the wilderness to abandon you at the edge of promise. I will finish what I started in you. I will lead you through every valley, over every mountain, and into every blessing I've spoken over your life. Your destiny is secure, not because you feel confident, but because I am constant. You are loved. You are chosen. You are never, ever alone. Let's talk about fear, how it creeps in quietly, like fog rolling across the soul, blurring vision and making the future feel fragile. I see how it grips your thoughts late at night, how it attaches itself to every what if and plants seeds of uncertainty deep inside you. I never meant for you to live that way. You were not created for a life imprisoned by fear. You were created to walk in boldness, not because you are always strong, but because I am. And I am with you. Fear says, you're alone. I say, I will never leave you. Fear says, this will never change. I say, watch what I will do. Fear says, you're not enough. I say, you are mine, and that is more than enough. Let me remind you again. I did not give you a spirit of fear. I gave you a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. That fear that haunts your dreams, that anxiety that steals your breath. It's not from me. And if it's not from me, you have every right to reject it. You don't need to invite fear to sit at your table anymore. It has no place in your story. You belong to me. Your mind belongs to me. Your heart belongs to me. And where my presence is, peace reigns. I want to speak peace into those places where fear has lived for far too long. Into the memories that still sting. Into the uncertain tomorrows that feel overwhelming. Into the whispers that tell you something bad is just around the corner. Those are not my voice. My voice is steady. My voice is full of hope. My voice doesn't shout doom. It sings restoration. You don't have to earn my protection. You are already covered. Even now, angels surround you. You can't always see them, but they are real, sent by me to guard you in all your ways. They've stood between you and danger more times than you know. And they don't move at the sound of your panic. They move at the sound of your faith. So speak faith, even when it's shaky, even when your voice trembles. Say, I trust you, Lord, and watch the heavens respond. I am fighting for you in ways you cannot imagine. I know the battles you face aren't only external, they're within your mind. That's why I keep whispering truth over your thoughts. That's why I've placed my word in your reach. Because when you renew your mind, the battlefield begins to shift. Every lie loses power when truth takes root. That's why the enemy fights so hard to fill your mind with distractions, doubts, and discouragements. Because he knows the moment you believe what I say about you, his grip is broken. You are not powerless. You are not defeated. You are not a prisoner of your past or a victim of your circumstances. You are a child of the Almighty. You have access to strength beyond your own. You are clothed in righteousness, surrounded by mercy, filled with purpose. Do not speak death over what I have called to life. Do not curse the journey I am still redeeming. Your story is not over, not even close. Sometimes, faith looks like planting seeds in soil that hasn't produced anything for a long time. Sometimes, it looks like showing up again. At the job, in the relationship, in the prayer closet. When everything in you says, why bother? But I see your perseverance, and I honor it. There is no small act of faith that goes unnoticed by me. Every mustard seed counts. Every whispered prayer matters. Every breath of hope in a hopeless place reaches my throne. You've been told by the world that only grand things have value. Loud successes, visible breakthroughs, big moments. But I measure differently. I see greatness in the quiet yes, in the unseen obedience, in the silent trust that no one else sees. That's where the roots grow deep. That's where the fruit begins. Don't be surprised if this season feels hidden. I often do my most powerful work in the hidden place. When no one is applauding. When nothing seems to be changing. When all you have is me. That is when transformation truly begins. Because you're not living for the spotlight, you're living for something eternal. And eternity is not impressed by speed, but by surrender. You've been asking me, when? But what if the better question is, who am I becoming in the waiting? You're becoming someone who can carry more. Someone whose faith won't shatter under pressure. Someone who doesn't panic when plans fall apart, because you trust the one who holds every plan. That's what I'm building in you. Endurance, wisdom, patience, courage. Not just to receive blessings, but to sustain them. And I promise you this, none of it will be wasted. Not one tear, not one delay, not one heartbreak. I will use all of it. Every broken piece, every unanswered prayer, every painful detour. I will redeem them. I will weave them into something that blesses not just you, but generations after you. Your legacy is being shaped even now, and it will speak of my faithfulness long after this chapter ends. So keep going, keep trusting, keep showing up, and when you feel too weak to move forward, let me carry you. I don't grow tired. I don't run out of love. I don't lose interest halfway through your healing. I am in this for the long haul, and I'm not going anywhere. You're going to see miracles. You're going to see restoration. You're going to see doors open that no one can shut. But even greater than all of that, you're going to know me. Deeper. Closer. Truer. And that, my child, is the real blessing. There's something I need you to understand now. Not just with your mind, but with your spirit. You are not who you used to be. I know you still feel the echoes of old failures. I know your heart sometimes plays back moments you wish you could rewrite. But hear me clearly. That person, that season, that chapter, it's over. You've grown. You've changed. You've healed more than you realize. Yes, there are still scars. But those scars are no longer signs of defeat. They are signs of survival. Proof that you walked through fire and came out refined, not ruined. You keep reaching back in your memory, searching for a version of yourself that felt more confident, more certain, more in control. But I'm not calling you back. I'm calling you forward. Because what I'm doing in you now requires a new identity, a new way of thinking, a new rhythm of trust. You cannot enter your next season wearing the garments of your past pain. Let me clothe you in something new, humility that is not born of shame but of strength, confidence that is not rooted in pride but in presence. You see, the enemy loves to remind you of who you were, because if he can keep you tethered to who you used to be, he can keep you from becoming who I designed you to be. But I have declared over you a new name, and I speak it over you again. Chosen, beloved, forgiven, whole. You are not bound to your former mistakes. You are not confined by the labels others placed upon you. You are mine, and what I speak over you is the final word. So stop shrinking to fit into places I've already called you out of. Stop trying to earn love that has already been given freely. You are not a second chance story. I have been writing glory into your journey since the beginning. Even your detours were not wasted. Even your worst decisions have been absorbed into a plan that is still unfolding with purpose. Nothing has disqualified you from my presence. Nothing can sever you from my love. You are still invited. You are still wanted. You are still part of the promise. Let's talk about courage for a moment. Not the loud, flashy kind the world celebrates, but the quiet, steady kind that chooses to get up again. That kind of courage is a holy thing, and you, my child, have it. Every time you take another step when your heart feels heavy, you display the strength of someone who refuses to quit. Every time you love someone who didn't love you back, you mirror my heart. Every time you choose peace when anger would be easier, you reveal the spirit inside you. Don't let discouragement convince you you're not growing. Growth rarely feels glorious. Often it feels like tension, like stretching, like being pulled beyond what you thought you could endure. But growth is happening. Deep growth. Soul growth. Eternal growth. I'm developing you into someone who won't crumble under pressure. Someone who will shine when others dim. Someone who doesn't just speak of hope, but embodies it. I see the burden you've been carrying, the pressure to be everything to everyone, the fear of letting people down, the unspoken expectation that you must never break. But I never asked you to be perfect. I only asked you to be present. With me. That's where your healing begins. When you stop trying to be everything and start resting in the one who is. I never called you to carry it all. I called you to give it all to me. There is beauty in your breaking because it makes room for my mending. There is power in your surrender because it releases me to move. There is freedom in your release because what you lay down, I lift up. I'm not disappointed in you. I'm not tired of you. I'm not impatient with your process. I delight in you, even in your slow steps, even in your tears, even in your hesitation. Your journey may not look like anyone else's, but that's because I've crafted it uniquely. And where you're going, you won't need what others rely on. You'll have me, and I'm enough. You keep asking, how will this end? But I'm inviting you to ask, who am I becoming while I wait? Because the outcome is not the only blessing. The becoming is just as sacred. I'm shaping you into someone who walks by faith, not by sight. Someone who hears my whisper louder than the noise of fear. Someone who doesn't flinch when the ground shakes. Because your foundation is in me. I am your stability. I am your constant. I am the rock beneath your feet. Even when the storm rages around you, let that truth settle deep into your bones. You are not at the mercy of the wind. You are anchored in the Almighty. And when I say I will finish what I started in you, I mean it. I don't speak empty promises. My woord is my bond. And my word over you is life, hope, healing, and a future. So breathe again. Let go of the tension in your shoulders, the tightness in your chest, the worry behind your eyes. I've got you. I've always had you. And I always will. There is no safer place than in the center of my will. No deeper comfort than the assurance of my love. No greater strength than the spirit I've placed within you. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are exactly where I need you to be. Open, willing, and ready. Ready to step into a season you never imagined. Held not by your own strength, but by mine. Let me ask you something, beloved. What if the breakthrough you've been longing for is already unfolding, but in ways you didn't expect? You see delay, but I see development. You see obstacles, but I see opportunities. You see silence, but I am orchestrating a symphony of purpose behind the curtain. You've been asking me for a sign, but I've been asking you to trust me without one. Because faith doesn't require full visibility, it only requires full surrender. I know what you've been carrying, the dreams that feel too fragile to say out loud anymore. The prayers you've whispered through clenched teeth and tear-streaked cheeks. The weight of responsibility, the ache of uncertainty, the fear of being forgotten. But none of it is lost on me. I haven't overlooked your pain. I haven't missed a single breath you held in the night, hoping for relief. And I need you to hear this with clarity. I am not done with you. Not even close. You are stepping into a new season. Yes, it may still feel like winter in your soul. But underneath the frozen ground, seeds are stirring. And I am the one who waters them. What you thought was dormancy was actually deep preparation. I've been strengthening your roots while the world saw nothing bloom. Because what I'm about to grow in your life needs foundation. It needs depth. And you, my beloved, are finally ready for it. Let's be honest, you've been through a lot. More than most people know. You've weathered storms that should have broken you, carried burdens that would have crushed others. But here you are, still breathing, still hoping, still standing. Maybe a little bruised, maybe a little tired, but still mine. And that matters more than you know. Because it means your heart is still open to me. And that kind of heart is the soil where miracles grow. I'm not asking for perfection. I never have. I'm asking for permission to move freely in your life, to rewrite what you thought was permanent, to bring beauty out of the places you thought were beyond hope. Will you let me in? All the way in, not just to the tidy parts of your heart, but to the rooms you've kept closed. The ones full of regrets, disappointments, fears, and dreams too painful to revisit. I want to be Lord of all, not just some. I'm not a guest in your life. I'm your foundation. I don't need your performance. I want your presence. Come to me not when you think you've got it all together, but when you're unraveling. That's when my grace shows its true strength. That's when my love wraps around you like a blanket in the cold and says, even now, I'm with you. Yes, even now, because I am not scared by your uncertainty. I am not offended by your doubts. I am not shocked by your mess. I entered into humanity so that I could meet you right there, in your humanity. My son did not walk this earth to find the righteous. He came to sit with the broken, the tired, the ones who had nothing left but hope. That same spirit dwells in you now, reminding you day after day that you are loved beyond comprehension. You keep waiting for life to get easier, hoping peace will come once the pressure is gone. But child, peace doesn't come from calm circumstances. It comes from knowing you're held by me, regardless of the storm. I don't remove all trouble, but I walk you through it. I don't promise immunity from pain, but I guarantee my presence within it. That is the kind of peace that surpasses all understanding. And I am offering it to you right now. Take this moment right now and release what you've been gripping too tightly. That timeline, that fear of failure, that need for control, the idea that you must have it all figured out before you can feel joy. Let it go. Lay it down. Not because you're giving up, but because you're giving it to me. There is a difference. Giving up says, it's hopeless. But giving it to me says, I believe you're greater than what I see. And I am. I am greater than the fear that taunts you. Greater than the past that haunts you. Greater than the doubt that tries to drown your dreams. You've been walking with your head low, weighed down by things I never asked you to carry. Lift your eyes, child. Look to me. I am not the God of maybe. I am the God of yes and amen. What I promised, I will fulfill. What I began, I will complete. What I've spoken over your life will not return void. My words are eternal, and they are alive within you even now. You are closer than you think. Closer to the joy you long for. Closer to the peace you crave. Closer to the purpose that has been quietly shaping your story all along. But don't focus only on what's coming. Learn to see me here in the in-between, because it's in the in-between where intimacy is forged, where dependence grows, where you begin to trust not just in my power, but in my heart. And my heart is for you. Always. Never against. Never absent. Never silent. Even when I'm not answering in the way you hoped, I am still acting in love. I am still working. I am still preparing things for you that far exceed your imagination. I know your desires. I placed many of them there. But I also know what needs to be removed so that better can come. And better is on its way. So take heart. The season you are entering is not one of striving, but of receiving. Not of fear, but of faith. Not of doubt, but of divine appointments. Doors will open. Favor will follow. And more than anything, your heart will know, deep down unshakably, that I have always been with you. There is something you've been trying to hide, not just from others, but from yourself. A quiet grief, a wound too complex to name, a fear that if you speak it aloud, it might become more real. You've tucked it away in the deepest part of your soul, hoping time would bury it. But I know it's there. I've always known. And I haven't turned away from you because of it. I've moved closer. I'm not afraid of what you carry. I came to carry it with you. Let me in, child. Let me heal what you've convinced yourself must stay broken. I see the way you smile through pain, how you pour into others while secretly wondering who will pour back into you. I see the weight of expectations pressing down on your shoulders. You're tired, not from laziness, but from giving so much of yourself without pause. I know the cost of your silence, the invisible battles no one applauds you for. And I want you to know you don't need to keep performing strength for me. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to exhale. You are allowed to fall into my arms and say, I can't keep carrying this. I will not scold you. I will not shame you. I will lift you. You've mistaken my silence for absence, but I've been speaking all along. Just not in the ways you expected. I speak in the quiet comfort that reaches you when no one else sees. I speak in the resilience that rises in you after another sleepless night. I speak through the sunrise you didn't think you'd live to see, through the words of a stranger, through the peace that arrives when you should feel nothing but panic. I speak in every breath you didn't think you could take. And I'm still speaking now. You are not alone. You are never alone. There's a tenderness I want to restore in you, the part that once believed in goodness before the world hardened your hope. You were born with wonder in your heart. I placed it there, and though life has tried to beat it out of you, it's not gone. It's just buried. Let me uncover it again. Let me show you that the world is still full of beauty, that love is still real, that trust is still worth giving. You were never meant to walk this road bitter and guarded. You were meant to walk it bold and unafraid because your protection is me, not your pain. You've tried to heal by forgetting, but I want to heal you by remembering that even in your darkest hour you were not forsaken, that even in the moments you regret most, my grace was present, that even when you lost your way, I never lost sight of you, and I never will. I've walked every valley beside you. I've sat beside your sorrow. I've held the pieces of your broken heart and whispered, I can rebuild this, if you'll let me. I want you to look at your life not as a series of failures, but as a landscape of redemption. Every time you fell, I was there. Every time you doubted, I remained. Every time you ran, I followed. You've never been outside the reach of my love. Not once. Not even close. And now, I'm inviting you not just to survive, but to begin again. This is not the end. This is not the ceiling. This is the soil of something new, and I am planting it deep inside of you. Do not rush this process. Do not despise the slowness of healing. Restoration is not a race, it is a rhythm, and I am the one keeping time. With every breath, I am rebuilding what life tried to destroy. You may not feel it yet, but something is shifting. The old shame is loosening. The lies are being uprooted, and the truth is taking root. Truth that says you are worthy. Truth that says you are loved. Truth that says your life has meaning, not in what you do, but in who you are. Mine. You've been fighting a battle within yourself, between the voice that tells you to give up and the whisper that urges you to believe one more time. That whisper, it's me. I am the quiet resilience in your spirit. I am the sudden moment of clarity that reminds you to hope. I am the presence that steadies you when everything else feels unstable. And I am not leaving you halfway through the healing. I will see it through. So let the tears fall. Not as a sign of weakness, but as a release of everything you've tried to hold together. Let them water the ground where new things are beginning. Let your honesty be the offering. I don't require perfect prayers. I don't need you to have eloquent words. I just need your heart raw, real, open. I want the version of you that the world doesn't see. The version that doubts. The version that aches. The version that still dares to hope even after everything. And I promise you this. I will not waste a single piece of your pain. I will use it. I will transform it. I will turn what was meant for harm into something that will one day make others believe again. Your story will not be defined by what broke you, but by how I restored you. You are being made whole, not instantly, but intentionally. And each day you say yes to me, even in weakness, you step further into the life I've prepared for you. So, beloved, pause now. Breathe deep. Let go of the guilt for not being okay all the time. Let go of the belief that you must earn peace. It is a gift, and I'm placing it in your hands right now. Carry it with you. Guard it. Let it shape how you speak to yourself, how you treat others, how you walk through the next hour, the next day. You are not alone. You never were. And this is just the beginning of what I'm about to do in you. Let's talk about the days when nothing makes sense. The days when your heart feels heavy without explanation. When familiar places suddenly seem unfamiliar. When the simplest tasks take every ounce of your energy. I see you on those days. I don't just see the smile you wear to get through it. I see what's underneath. The effort it takes to rise from bed. the strength it costs to answer one more message, the longing in your soul for something deeper, something truer. And I want you to know this. I'm not just present when you're strong. I'm most near when you're weak. You've believed that your spiritual life must always feel alive, vibrant, full of fire. But faith is not always a flame. Sometimes it's a flicker. Sometimes it's a breath barely held. But even that breath reaches me. Even that whisper, "God, are you still here?" is heard. And my answer again and again is yes. I am here. I was here yesterday. I am here now, and I'll be here tomorrow. Your faith is not measured by how loud your worship is, but by how gently you hold on when everything in you wants to let go. I never asked you to be unshakable. I only asked you to stand even if your legs tremble. I'm not watching for perfection. I'm watching for persistence. And beloved, you've been more faithful than you give yourself credit for. You've kept walking through storms that would have turned others around. You've believed even when belief felt like reaching through the dark. You've kept your heart open to me, and that alone is a victory worth celebrating. The enemy wants to convince you that your progress is invisible, that your healing is too slow, that your prayers are ineffective. But I want you to know, every step you take, no matter how small, matters. Every act of kindness you show, even when no one sees it, echoes in eternity. Every time you resist bitterness, you wage war against darkness. You are doing holy work even when it feels ordinary. Especially when it feels ordinary. That's where the eternal is born. You ask me, how much longer? And I ask you, can you trust me in the meantime? Because this space between where you were and where you're going, this is where your roots grow. This is where your identity is refined, where your values are tested, where your character is shaped to carry what I'm preparing for you. And I assure you, what's coming is worth the wait. But more than that, who you're becoming in the waiting is the true miracle. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to fix every problem or control every outcome. That's not your job. That's mine. Your role is to abide in me, to dwell in my presence even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because it's in the waiting that the deepest transformation happens. Like gold in the fire, you are being refined. Not destroyed, not forgotten, refined. Do not despise the slowness. I am not rushing this because what I am building in you is not temporary. I don't deal in quick fixes. I deal in eternal solutions, and I know how to finish what I start. I'm not just working for your comfort. I'm working for your calling. There's a greater purpose in you than you even realize, and I'm preparing you to carry it with grace and strength. But I know it's hard. I know sometimes you feel like collapsing under the weight of it all. I know some days you wonder if you're truly seen, or if your efforts matter at all. Let me tell you, they do. They matter to me. I see every decision you've made to choose love instead of fear. I see every moment you've resisted the urge to retaliate, to give up, to numb out. That kind of courage, quiet, unseen, consistent, that is the courage I bless. So don't let the enemy steal your confidence. He thrives in shadows, in confusion, in discouragement. But my light always exposes what's real. And here's what's real. You are chosen. You are capable. You are called. And the promises over your life are not on hold because you failed. They are unfolding because you're growing. Do not compare your journey. Do not measure your worth against timelines and milestones that were never meant for you. I am not bound by the expectations of others. I am not confined by cultural clocks. I move according to eternal timing. And when it's time, no force on earth or hell can stop what I've set in motion. In the meantime, I'm inviting you into deeper intimacy. Not surface-level spirituality, but deep soul-to-soul connection. I want to be your first thought in the morning and your last breath at night. I want to walk with you not just on the mountaintops, but through every valley, every hallway, every mundane moment. I'm not looking for a guest role in your story. I am the author, and I write only in love. Let's rewrite how you see yourself. You are not behind. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not failing. You are becoming braver, becoming softer, becoming stronger in ways that aren't always visible, but are always vital. What I'm doing in you now is not a pause. It's a preparation. And when the door opens, and you will be ready. Not just for what I give you, but for what I ask you to carry. And it will be beautiful. Not because it's easy, but because it's mine. And anything that comes from me carries the fragrance of heaven and the mark of purpose. So breathe, rest, let go of the pressure. Come back to me, again and again, even if you feel like you've drifted too far. You never have. I am always one whisper away. Just say my name and I am there. There's something sacred happening in your life. Even now, even here, even when it feels like everything is standing still. You might not feel it yet. You might be looking around and seeing the same routines, the same burdens, the same unanswered questions. But what's happening in your spirit is far from ordinary. I'm awakening something within you that has been sleeping for far too long. A holy confidence, a deeper knowing, a bold faith not built on circumstances, but on relationship, your relationship with me. You've been asking me to change your situation, but I've been focused on changing you. Because once you are transformed, everything else will follow. This isn't about a momentary breakthrough. It's about becoming someone who lives fully in the promise, not just someone who visits it from time to time. I'm not interested in behavior modification. I'm after heart transformation. I want your roots to go deep, so that when storms come, your joy remains. I want your peace to be immovable, because it is anchored not in what you see, but in who I am. Yes, I know what's tried to break you. I know the thoughts that creep in when you're alone, the ones that say you're not enough, that no one would notice if you disappeared, that your presence doesn't matter. But I am here to speak something louder, something eternal. You matter because I made you. You are not invisible to me. I see every sacrifice, every struggle, every silent prayer you've whispered into the night. And not one of them has been wasted. Not one of them has fallen to the ground unnoticed. They are planted in me, and they will bear fruit in time. But first, you must stop seeing yourself through the eyes of what's happened to you. You are not the sum of your pain. You are not your trauma. You are not the betrayal. You are not the voice of your critics. You are not the result of your past mistakes. You are who I say you are, and I say you are redeemed. I say you are whole. I say you are rising, not because of your own strength, but because my hand is lifting you. Let me remind you, your story is not a tragedy. Your journey is not cursed. I have been with you since the beginning, and I will be with you until the end. And I am weaving all things, even the ones you don't understand, into a greater purpose. You see one thread, but I see the entire tapestry. What feels like chaos to you is divine design to me. Trust that. And yes, I know trusting is hard when the wound is still fresh. I know it's not easy to open your heart again after disappointment. But I'm not asking you to trust people. I'm asking you to trust me. I'm not the one who hurt you. I'm the one who kept you breathing when the pain tried to stop your heart. I'm the one who stayed when everyone else walked away. I'm the one who knows your soul more intimately than anyone ever will. So don't shut me out. Don't let fear keep you from receiving what I'm trying to give. I know you've grown cautious, guarded, skeptical. That's okay. I'm patient. I will wait for you to believe again, to soften again, to hope again. You don't have to come running. Just open the door. Even a little. I'll meet you there. I always do. You think you've been forgotten because the breakthrough hasn't arrived. But what if I told you the blessing you're waiting for is waiting on you? Waiting for you to stop striving and start surrendering. What if I told you that the peace you want has been within reach the entire time, but it only unlocks when you release control? I don't require perfection. I require presence. Your attention, your trust. Even when it's hard. This season you're in, it's not punishment. It's preparation. I'm teaching you how to walk by faith, how to trust in the unseen, how to live not by bread alone but by every word that comes from me. I'm developing strength in you that lasts. Not surface-level strength, but the kind that stands firm even when the world shakes. The kind that lifts others when they cannot stand themselves. That kind of strength comes only through the quiet daily yes. The quiet daily surrender. So I'm asking you today, will you say yes again? Will you trust me with what you don't understand? Will you give me your fear, your doubt, your fatigue? You weren't meant to carry them. You weren't meant to figure everything out. You were meant to follow. And I never lead without purpose. I never speak without power. And I never love halfway. You are standing on the edge of something new. I know you don't feel ready. That's okay. You don't have to be ready, you only have to be willing. Willing to take one more step. Willing to believe that the best is not behind you. Willing to look forward, even if you're still wiping tears from your eyes. Willing to hope. Willing to try. Willing to trust that I know what I'm doing, even when nothing makes sense. Because I do. I know every detail. I see the bigger picture. I know where this path leads. And it leads to life. It leads to joy. It leads to freedom. I am not just guiding you through the pain. I'm guiding you toward promise. And soon, very soon, you'll look back and see how all the pieces fit. How the detours were really divine redirections. How the delays were really protection. How my silence was never absence, but strategy. And when you see it, you will praise me, not just for the outcome, but for the faith I formed in you along the way. Let's talk about identity. Not the one the world gave you. Not the one your wounds whispered to you in the dark. But the one I placed within you before your first breath. You are not a mistake. You are not just a survivor of your circumstances. You are not a background character in someone else's story. You are mine. I crafted you with care. I spoke purpose into your soul before you ever faced a single storm. I didn't wait to see how your life would unfold before choosing you. I chose you from the very beginning. The world has tried to name you. It's called you broken, unworthy, difficult, too much, not enough. But none of those names come from me. I call you beloved. I call you chosen. I call you redeemed. And no label from your past, no opinion of others, no failure can cancel what I've declared over your life. You've worn shame like a second skin, but I'm peeling it off now. You've walked in insecurity like it was truth, but I'm replacing it with courage. It's time to step into who you really are, not who you were told to be, but who I created you to become. Yes, you've been through hard things, but you are not what happened to you. You are what I am doing through you. You are not defined by trauma, you are refined by grace. And that grace is not fragile. It doesn't crack when you falter. It doesn't withdraw when you doubt. My grace is fierce. It holds you up when you're too weak to stand. It lifts your chin when your head hangs low. It surrounds you when you feel exposed. You are covered. You are claimed. And you are safe with me. There is a roar rising inside of you. Quiet now, but growing. It's the sound of resurrection. The sound of old chains falling. The sound of identity awakening. You are not who you were in your lowest moment. You are not the version of yourself that gave up in the past. You are not defined by the time you walked away, the time you didn't believe, the time you failed to show up. I don't hold those things over you. I hold you, and I am calling you forward, not in shame, but in strength. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you truly believed I was with you? What would you pursue if fear no longer ruled your decisions? What would you become if you stopped carrying the weight of proving yourself and simply stood in the truth that you are already enough in me? That version of you is already alive. It's just been buried under years of lies. But I'm digging it up now. I'm resurrecting it. And what's emerging is radiant, bold, and deeply rooted in me. You've been playing small, not because you lack ambition, but because you've been protecting your heart. You've been afraid to hope again, to dream again, to believe that something beautiful could still come from your story. But I am not done creating beauty in your life. Not even close. I specialize in beauty from ashes. I restore what others said was beyond repair. I redeem time. I resurrect dreams. Nothing is too lost for me. Nothing. But I need you to stop disqualifying yourself. Stop stepping back when I've called you to step forward. Stop apologizing for being a work in progress. Everyone I've ever used was in progress. I don't wait for perfection to move. I move through willingness. And your willingness is enough. Even if your hands tremble. Even if your voice shakes. Even if all you can say is, Lord, I'm scared, but I'm willing. That is where faith begins. And that is where I move. You don't need to figure it all out before taking the next step. Just trust that I'll be in it. the open door, the conversation, the opportunity, the shift. You've been asking for a sign, and I've been shaping you into someone who no longer needs one to obey. Because obedience without clarity is trust, and that's the kind of trust that moves mountains. I see you when you're discouraged. I see how hard you try, how much you long to please me. I know you get tired. I know you wonder if you're doing enough. But I don't measure you by your output. I measure you by your nearness. I'm not impressed by performance. I'm drawn to presence. Your heart is what I long for, and I have it. Even when you feel far from me, I have it. Even when you struggle, when you doubt, when you question, your heart still beats for me. And that's why you're still standing. Let that sink in, you're still standing. After everything, after the disappointments, after the breakdowns, after the sleepless nights, you're still here, still breathing, still hoping, still mine. That is not weakness, that is worship. Every step you take toward me, no matter how small, is a declaration of victory. You are not failing, you are fighting. And I am fighting with you. So keep moving forward, even if slowly. Keep showing up, even if imperfectly. Keep praying, even when the words are few. I'm not looking for polished prayers. I'm listening for honest ones. I hear you. I see you. I know you. And I love you completely. Nothing you've done can remove you from my hand. Nothing you've faced can separate you from my heart. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where I want you, in my presence, where transformation begins. The world may not see it yet, but I do. I see the glow returning to your spirit. I see the chains falling. I see the lion rising. You were never meant to live afraid. You were made to live free. Let me tell you something most people forget. You were created to walk in communion with me. Not just on Sundays, not only in crisis, not as a duty or ritual, but as a constant, living, breathing relationship. That longing in your soul that nothing else satisfies? That's me calling you home. That ache you feel when you try to fill your heart with accomplishments, approval, or distraction. That's the echo of my presence inviting you deeper. I did not design you to run on empty. I did not create you to pour out endlessly without being filled. And yet, you've spent so much of your life surviving on fragments, convinced that rest must be earned, that love must be proven, that purpose is something you chase down. But that was never my way. I never asked you to perform. I asked you to abide, to dwell, to stay close. You don't have to run after what's already been given. My love is not something you win. It's something you receive. You've grown used to striving, haven't you? Measuring your worth by what you've accomplished. Judging your progress by how productive you've been. But I see beneath the surface. I see when your hands are busy but your heart is weary. I see when you keep pushing because you're afraid of what the stillness might reveal. But it's in the stillness that I speak clearest. It's in the quiet that I show you who you truly are, not who you try to be, but who I've always known you to be. Let go of the pace the world demands. Let go of the race to be seen, to be enough, to prove you belong. You already belong with me. You already matter to me. And you don't have to exhaust yourself trying to earn what I gave you freely. My presence is not a reward for good behavior. It's a refuge for the brokenhearted. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to come. I know you want answers. I know you're tired of not knowing how it will all work out. But trust doesn't require full clarity. It requires surrender. Trust says, even if I don't understand, I believe you're good. Trust says, even in the unknown, I know you are with me. And I am. I've been with you in every valley, every detour, every wilderness season. And I haven't wasted a single moment. I've been building something eternal in you. Something the world can't touch. Something unshakable. You keep asking for the destination. But I am asking you to fall in love with the journey. Because this path we're walking, it's not just about what's waiting on the other side. It's about what's being shaped in you now. The trust, the resilience, the intimacy, the depth. These are not delays. They are divine appointments. And I don't want you to miss what I'm doing today because your eyes are fixed on tomorrow. Yes, there will be breakthrough. Yes, there will be blessing. But more than what I'm giving you, I want to give you me. That's always been the greatest gift. And when you have me, you have everything you need. Joy becomes deeper. Peace becomes stronger. Even the trials lose their sting because you're not walking through them alone. Let me be your first source, not your last resort. Let me be the one you run to, not the one you remember only when things fall apart. I don't want a part of your heart. I want all of it. The messy parts, the confused parts, the hurting parts, the parts you hide from others because you think they're too broken. I want those most of all, because I heal what you bring into the light. I restore what you surrender, and I redeem what you thought was ruined. You've seen glimpses of my power before. You've tasted moments of my presence. But I want to take you deeper now, not into greater effort, but into greater trust. You don't have to chase fire. Just stay close to the flame. Stay close to me, and you'll never walk in darkness again. This world will offer you 1,000 versions of identity, 1,000 false promises of fulfillment, but nothing compares to walking in who you are in me. You are not just someone who believes, you are someone who belongs. You are not just someone seeking purpose, you are someone who carries purpose. And that purpose is not just about doing big things. It's about being rooted in love, grounded in truth, and living each moment aware that I am with you, in you, and for you. You may not feel extraordinary, but you are carrying the presence of an extraordinary God. That alone makes you powerful. That alone makes you radiant. You don't need a title. You don't need a platform. You don't need recognition. You are seen by heaven, known by me, marked by grace, and wherever you go, you carry light. Even when you don't feel it, darkness trembles when you enter the room, not because of who you are in your own strength, but because of who I am in you. So stop questioning your value. Stop second-guessing your place. Stop believing the lie that you're falling behind. You are exactly where you need to be for me to do what I need to do in you. You haven't missed it. You're not too late. You haven't gone too far. My plans for you are not fragile. They are eternal. And my timing is not late. It's perfect. So rest in this truth. You are loved. You are held. You are enough. And you are becoming someone who will not just survive, someone who will shine. The world hasn't seen the fullness of who you are yet. But I have, and I'm leading you there, one faithful step at a time. Let me speak into the silence you carry. That quiet space where your questions live, the ones too sacred to say aloud. I know them. I know how long you've waited for answers, how much you've hoped that this would be the season where everything changes. I see the tension in your heart, the desire to believe colliding with the fear of being disappointed again. You've said to me in secret, God, I want to trust you, but what if nothing changes? And I say back to you gently, even if nothing around you shifts right away, something within you already has. Because faith isn't always about getting what you want. It's about becoming someone who trusts me no matter the outcome. I'm not trying to build a life that's simply comfortable for you. I'm building a life that carries eternal weight. And that kind of life must be founded on something deeper than answers. It must be built on me. I know the world around you shouts for quick results, loud successes, instant healing. But I do my best work in the slow, the sacred, the hidden. I don't rush what's meant to last. I don't cut corners with those I love. I am forming something in you that cannot be shaken. Not by disappointment, not by delay, not even by the darkest night. You've said to yourself, if I just knew the outcome, I could rest. But real rest doesn't come from certainty about the future. It comes from intimacy with me. When you know who I am, you won't need to know exactly what's next. You'll walk in peace anyway, because my peace is not a product of perfect circumstances. It's the product of my presence. Let me remind you again, I am not just the God of mountaintops. I am the God of Mondays, the God of ordinary moments, the God of slow mornings, tired afternoons, and nights when you lie awake wondering what your purpose really is. I'm not watching from a distance, waiting for you to get it all right. I'm right here, in your questions, in your confusion, in your waiting, in your breathing. You keep trying to get back to a version of yourself that felt more confident, more spiritual, more inspired. But I'm not trying to return you to a former place. I'm calling you forward into something better. What feels like decline is actually deeper development. What feels like detour is direction. I don't go backward. I build forward. And I'm not rebuilding the old you. I'm revealing the real you. The you who doesn't live for approval because you already know you're approved by me. The you who walks into a room not needing to shrink or impress, but simply to shine. The you who no longer asks, "Am I enough?" Because you are resting in the truth that I am is in you. That's who you're becoming. And it's beautiful. But I know it's hard to see that when you're still walking through fire. I know it's easy to forget your strength when grief weighs heavy, when anxiety clouds your mind, when you feel stuck between where you've been and where you're going. But this fire is not here to burn you. It's here to refine you, to burn off fear, to consume the lie that you're alone, to release you from the need to prove your worth. Even when your steps feel small, they are not wasted. Even when your progress feels invisible, it is sacred. You are walking through something, yes, but you are not walking through it alone. I go before you, I walk beside you, and I guard you from behind. When you cry, I collect every tear. When you tremble, I steady your hand. And when you feel lost, I whisper, "You're still mine." There's nothing you're facing that I haven't already accounted for in your destiny. There's no failure I haven't already factored into my grace. You can't disqualify yourself from what I've already qualified you for. My calling over your life is not fragile. It doesn't break when you do. It waits. It waits until you're ready to believe again. And I will wait as long as it takes. Because I'm not in a hurry. I'm in love. So come to me again, not with polished prayers, but with your real self. I want your questions. I want your fears. I want the parts of your story you're still ashamed of. I want the parts of your soul you're still trying to make sense of. I am not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be present. Let me in, not just into your Sundays, but into your struggles, into your habits, into your schedule, into your silence. You were not created to visit me occasionally. You were made to dwell with me daily. And there's no substitute for that kind of relationship. That's where healing flows. That's where identity is reformed. That's where confidence is born. Not the kind that boasts, but the kind that knows it is deeply loved and fully seen. I know you're tired of trying to hold everything together. But here's the truth. You don't have to. Let it fall apart if it needs to. Let the old ways of coping collapse. Let the masks drop. Let the hustle quiet down. I'll meet you in the ruins, and I'll build something better. Something you don't have to pretend to maintain. Something honest. Something holy. Because I don't want the version of you you think I want. I want the real you. The one I formed in the secret place. The one I called by name before the world called you by anything else. And I am restoring you, not to who you were, but to who you've always been in my eyes. Now that you've come this far with me, now that you've listened, wept, wrestled, and returned, let me tell you something sacred. This isn't the end of your story. This is the beginning of something entirely new. Not just a new chapter, not just a better version of the old, but a resurrection, a rebirth, a holy awakening of who you truly are when you walk fully in step with me. You've come through fire. You've endured storms. You've faced silence, rejection, loss, confusion. And through it all, your heart still beats with a whisper that says, "There's more." And that whisper, it's mine. It's always been mine. I placed it in you as a reminder that you were never meant to settle for less than divine purpose. You were never created to simply exist. You were formed to live abundantly. And that abundant life begins when you stop striving to be enough and start believing that in me you already are. You've been waiting for some grand moment to declare your arrival. But the shift is already happening. Quietly, deeply, eternally. Every time you choose to stay soft when life tries to harden you. Every time you speak hope when despair calls. Every time you show up for yourself with grace instead of shame. These are not small things. These are kingdom things. And this is the life you were made for. No, it doesn't mean everything will suddenly be easy. But it does mean you will walk with strength not your own. It means that when grief comes, it won't destroy you. When fear whispers, it won't control you. When life shakes, you will stand. Not because you've mastered life, but because you've been mastered by love. My love. A love that does not grow weary. A love that does not change with circumstances. A love that has carried you through every season and will carry you into the next. You no longer have to earn your place here. You belong because I said so, because I chose you, because I formed you, because I delight in you, not just when you're strong, but even more when you're honest. I'm not impressed by your independence. I'm moved by your surrender, and you, beloved, have surrendered more than you realize. Every yes you gave me in the quiet, every time you laid down what you couldn't control, every moment you trusted me instead of turning away, these have built a foundation that hell itself cannot shake. You've come to me bruised, bleeding, breathless, and I've never turned you away. I never will. My arms have always been open. My grace has always been enough. And now I'm asking you to do the one thing you've been afraid to do. Live as if it's true. Live as if you are forgiven. Live as if you are chosen. Live as if you are equipped. Because you are. You have everything you need, not because you've earned it, but because I've placed it inside you. There will still be moments when doubt tries to creep in, when the old lies come knocking, when fear tries to reclaim the space that faith has filled. But now you know what to do. Now you know whose voice to listen for. Now you know where to run, not away from me, but to me, again and again, as many times as it takes. You never have to be ashamed of needing me. That need is holy. That need is welcome. That need is why I came. And I'm not sending you into the next season empty-handed. I'm sending you full of grace, full of wisdom, full of peace that the world cannot give or take. I'm sending you with angels assigned, promises secured, and favor that surrounds you like a shield. You will walk into rooms and shift atmospheres, not because you demand attention, but because you carry my presence. And my presence is always enough. You will speak with clarity. You will love with compassion. You will rise with courage. You will walk with boldness, not arrogance, but the boldness of someone who knows they're not walking alone. You never were, and you never will. I've walked with you in the quiet, in the chaos, in the crushing, and in the calm, and I will walk with you still. This world needs what you carry, not because you're flawless, but because you're filled with me. You were never meant to be the answer, you were meant to carry the answer. And now you do. Every act of kindness, every moment of mercy, every word spoken in love, it will echo. It will plant seeds. It will light fires in places you may never see. But I see them, I water them, and I will bring the increase. So lift your head, straighten your spine, breathe deep, step forward, not because you have all the answers, but because you know the one who does. And that's enough. You don't need a map when you're holding my hand. Just walk with me. I'll take you places you never imagined. I'll open doors no man can shut. I'll redeem things you thought were forever lost. I'll restore years the enemy tried to steal. I'll turn your tears into testimony, and your scars into songs. Because this is not just about healing, it's about becoming. Becoming who you were always meant to be. Becoming whole. Becoming free. Becoming fully alive. Now go. Not in fear, but in freedom. Not in shame, but in grace. Not in your own strength, but in mine. The world is waiting, and you, my child, are ready.
If this message touched your heart, know this: God has been with you the entire time. He's not finished with you. In fact, He's just getting started. You were chosen, loved, and never forgotten. Don't walk this journey alone. Subscribe to Jesus Saves for more faith-filled messages that speak to your soul. And if this video blessed you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay rooted in grace, walk in faith, and always remember, Jesus saves.